Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Ted Turner. Success leaves clues, kids. I just named 5 of the greatest names in business in the last 150 years. And they all have one thing in common. They're ball busters. They're hard as nails. Where does that leave you? I still work 50, 60 hours a week. And I haven't had to work in 35 years. You're not willing to do anything. You're not willing to sacrifice anything to be a high-performance person.
I don't want to be like that.
No, most people don't.
I want to be liked.
Yeah, well, see, you want to fit in. I'm the only speaker that you're ever going to hear that really, with all his heart, doesn't give a shit. If I leave here you liking me, I did something wrong.
They see 30 seconds. They didn't see 10,000 hours.
Anyone can sail on smooth waters. Anyone can dance when the music is playing.
So is it just a run in the rain? You tell me.
Remind yourself of what that door opening is going to feel like.
So I have dreams. Compulsions to be legendary, evolving from the imaginary, and it's near and it's real. I can see. In due time we realize that real life is defined by our own eyes. And I have blueprints to the skyline, it's just reality is built methodically, and overnight success you would never guess takes a long time. You have to cut lifelines and navigate landmines, but it's your move on your cue, just decide. So I sat there, thought about it. How long am I gonna go on about it? Put my shoes on, I said so long and went outside. Right through the field I used to run by, where the rows of sunflowers waist high, but it was different than what I envisioned. There weren't any road signs, or guidelines, or letters that said it's all just fine. It was just me adjusting as I made my way to the sunrise. Then I paused. On the ground below me was a little door. I knocked slowly, was pretty scared, maybe ill-prepared, but we get one life only. So I opened the hatch, looked down, and it's pitch black, no sound. And if you don't choose any road will do. I've been riding logistical merry-go-rounds and my eyes are wide. Restless soul with scores to settle from years ago. I know that there's more cause I told me so. I'm going down the rabbit hole and there's not a way out. The chips fall, I'm all in. Now my prospects are in lockstep and each step is a shakedown. I got a coat of armor, sword of steel, call to arms cause the threat's real. And see, crowns are made on battlefields, so your majesty, no, I will never kneel. Time to face fear, right front center. Watch doubts fall like it's November. Got a treasure map in my backpack, it says life's golden. What a pleasure. Been round and round and free falling now, cause there's ghost schools and there's goblins out there. You're leaving us, they call me treasonous. Think that you're dangerous, you must be delirious. Just in the guns fire and the trumpets start and the ground trembles from the steady march. And it looks bad cause their deck's stacked, but my king beats a queen of hearts. They're trying to win in spades, so I set fires with the kind of flames that forge empires. And like a hurricane, but I'm a tad insane. Cat 5, Cheshire. Right around we go, the next episode under the second story. So look out below, collect haters' tears that makes a steady flow. And the greatest fears, I told you so. I know it though, there's no impossible. You can watch it pass, you can watch it grow. Be more powerful than you will ever know. I'm going down the rabbit hole. Look, I'm exhausted. Had it all figured out and I lost it. They say that's the cost, but it just feels like a lot. Stop, are you going or not? I miss certainty. Miss the 9 to 5s, knowing exactly where I need to be and why I'm not built for this. Progress moves in slow motion. They're out making money and getting promotions, saying all the right things, pulling all the right levers. While I sit here, write my future self love letters. Who's winning? Is this the end or beginning? Cause I'm starting to feel like reality's slipping. And bank accounts, they aren't very forgiving. And life on edge feels like falling, not living. If effort brings victory, what am I missing? Nothing good comes easy. When we have to, we push through, not knowing completely. You're here because you're made for this next level, taking these places that most people won't. Start embracing it. Who cares what they do? They're not you. You'll go through more now than you think you're supposed to, but that shows you can cope with the highs and the lows, because you rose to be more. Could've run away, could've avoided the thorns, could've been comfortable. Blood, sweat, and tears, they're expendable. No more pretending, man, build something memorable. Don't drink from their cup or by stories they tell, cause when all their time's up, you'll have dug your own well. You did it. Use lifelines, you're topped off for a lifetime, so drop all those one-liners. We'll get them next time. No, this time is your time, and whatever you decide will end up being real life. No stop signs, just storylines. This whole thing is a misunderstanding, a miscalculation. Jumped and missed the landing. I'm mystified, I can waste so much time. These ovations are strictly imagination, not standing. So much for planning, guess fate left without me. Those failure statistics, yeah, they'll be about me. Was overly optimistic, forgot the logistics. Guess we all learn sometime, don't we? Good is not good enough. No, how long do I stay down before I let go? I buried my pride and took it inside, but never enough. It takes a toll, it gets old getting told you've got miles of road left to go. You're alone with this future unknown. Just go home. Just go home, it's safe there. Yeah, I'll find some embrace there. Look, it's time to admit defeat. A humble retreat, check the box and complete to my core. Intrinsically, it's not for me, I can't do this. I knew this is how it would be. No fame, no fortune, no names on marquees, just running in place every day on repeat. This is the world I wanna see, where everything's taken with no guarantees. No, come on man, pick your head up. Go back inside, half a life's learning to get up. How can I make you see that you have everything you need, and what you want to be is never out of reach? Fate deceives sometimes, but destiny's calling, so can't let the phone ring. You know there's no all-knowing. Go level up, no letdowns. Let the world in, push fear out. It's self-belief, it starts right now. When hell freezes, you lay down. Until then, it's your town, it's your story, it's your crown. Live in the clouds, feet on the ground. They stand still, you run around. Go mesmerize, where they socialize. There's dollar signs to be maximized. If you live it right, regret nothing. Loud applause, the sweetest sound. And this moment won't happen again, and never becomes forever unless you choose to begin. So see greatness in each step, and power in progress. Your future, yeah, that's limitless, it's infinite. Don't forget you want this.
Getting your business funded is a lengthy process with the banks, and it can take weeks before getting an answer. ProfitFX works with the best in the finance industry to bring you an unrivaled business funding solution for South African businesses. Our funding partners have funded millions in the last year in support of growing your business and our economy. Get in touch with your talk show host to request more information. A trade history of 3 years or more and an annual turnover of 1 million rand or more is required. Terms and conditions apply.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Talk Show. This is your host, Rian Hobson, and we're doing today the biggest trade deal in Asia. It actually occurred over the weekend, where mainly most of the Asian countries are actually signed agreement, and it's actually the largest agreement in the plays a part in. It is actually a very good agreement for the global growth, and obviously the world went anti-globalization since Trump and Joris Bonson came into the equation, and then the world actually moved against globalization, and now I see actually that the more regional, or as the agreement is actually stating on, a regional comprehensive economic partnership. Now the countries that is actually included in this is actually a surprise to me. China, Japan, and South Korea. Those three are normally not on the same page, but on this agreement, they did sign it, so the deal is actually on. But the countries that is actually included, there's about 12 or 15 countries. 15 countries that is actually in this agreement is China, is Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, the Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia, So it's basically your main countries that are actually in part of this whole thing. Now, Taiwan is not part of the whole agreement. Obviously, China is not actually respecting Taiwan's independence. But besides that, the agreement is getting quite attention across the world, as it actually shows that the Asian countries can basically stand together for actually growth in the region. Now, also, this comes with the whole story with Australia and China that has a bit of tension between them, and also New Zealand and Japan and China always have a story among each other. But all of a sudden they come to this agreement, and it looks like they're gonna or it actually seems that they signed this whole agreement. But it also includes actually less red tape. So as I actually basically scanned the agreement on a PDF, you can actually download it. But also the traveling among countries will be better. So if you need to trade to Philippines, Australia to Japan, or wherever this agreement is signed, the countries that agree to this agreement, they can actually move freely amongst each other, just to take away all the red tape. And also it goes with lower tariffs on this whole story as well. So basically with exporting of goods from Australia to Japan to China to South Korea. So it will actually literally cool down the burden among these countries. Although I did say that for me it was actually quite a surprise to see China and Japan actually go with this agreement, because normally they actually not on the same page. So I'm really amazed how they get it done. But I see also there's a lot of things where the movement of people is also included into this agreement. So for now, it all looks green on the market because of this agreement. The Dow Jones is actually up. The futures is up. Dow Jones, S&P, the Nasdaq, obviously it will be up. The Nikkei this morning traded actually quite good after this whole deal was actually pushed through. It's actually up by 2%. The FTSE is up. The DAX is up. Even the European stocks are actually up based on this agreement. Just to give you a quick rundown of the Asian markets this morning, the Nikkei is up. The Hang Seng is up. The Hang Seng 50 is also up. And this is large movements, like 2%. The Nikkei is up. The Hang Seng is up by 1.1%. The Shanghai 50 is up by 1.16%. So it shows that the world and the people and the traders are actually happy for this agreement. You can see also that on a weekly basis, the Nikkei is up by 4%. Shanghai is slightly down. Even the Shanghai 50 is also down. But with this agreement, I'm sure the weekly trading of these stocks will actually come up. So it's all good news for the market, and I think the market will be in the green for today. Also, if you look at the currency part, I mean, the New Zealand dollar was flying up this morning. It was up by 40 pips when the market is actually open. It is actually trading slightly higher now on a 0.26. And then you have the Australian dollars also slightly higher, the euro, the British pound's a bit down, but mostly your commodity currencies is actually up based on this agreement. The dollar is still bleeding actually from last week, or for the last 2 weeks is still bleeding. It's actually still down with a 0.05%. The South African rand is strengthening. I think maybe because of the news of the Asian markets that are actually negotiating. Maybe they will get a way through this whole thing. But I think it's more of optimism that pushed the rand up, mainly because of this agreement, and also with the vaccine that is on the way. There's also, for me personally, the vaccine is a bit of a crazy story. But hey, the sentiment is up. So that is what we are worried about. The sentiment is up. People are buying shares. People are going into the market with aggression, and people are actually buying it. Now, on top of that, the news that there was actually news that came out this morning out of China. What I'm more interested in, there's quite a lot of news that came through. It was the house prices that came in, the yield also came in, the retail sales also, and then the fixed asset investments also came in this morning. But I'm more interested in the industrial production side, or the year-on-year industrial production side. I see that actually beat estimations, as forecast was on 6.3%. The consensus had at 6.5%. And then the actual came out at 6.9%. Also, the unemployment rate in China also dropped to a 5.3%. So things are looking good in the Asian markets this morning. News came out strongly. Even the retail sales was not bad this morning out of China, was 4.3%, and the forecast was at 4.6%, although slightly lower. But I don't think that will affect much the commodities because the industrial production is up, and that actually counts the most. So you must never forget that industrial production news actually push the commodities up, and also the commodity currencies up. Crude oils are also up by 2% based on that deal, and also good Chinese news this morning. Brent is also up by 1.9%, and then you have gold also up slightly with a 0.14%. But this deal, I will cover the nitty-gritty stuff of this deal. But as for the market, it looks like the market is happy with the deal, as you can see with the whole optimism of the stock market in Asia. And I think that spillover will go through to the European stocks and also to the American stocks as the day progresses. So for now, I will just take a short break, and then I'll be back with you with some more information regarding this regional comprehensive economic partnership deal between the Asian nations.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Look, I'm exhausted. Had it all figured out and I lost it. They say that's the cost, but it just feels like a lot. Stop, are you going or not? I miss certainty. Miss the 9 to 5s, knowing exactly where I need to be and why I'm not built for this. Progress moves in slow motion. They're out making money and getting promotions, saying all the right things, pulling all the right levers, while I sit here, write my future self love letters. Who's winning? Is this the end or beginning? 'Cause I'm starting to feel like reality's slipping, and bank accounts, they aren't very forgiving, and life on edge feels like falling, not living. If effort brings victory, what am I missing? Nothing good comes easy. When we have to, we push through, not knowing completely. You're here because you're made for this next level, taking these places that most people won't. Start embracing it. Who cares what they do? They're not you. You'll go through more now than you think you're supposed to, but that shows you can cope with the highs and the lows, because you rose to be more. Could've run away, could've avoided the thorns, could've been comfortable. Blood, sweat, and tears, they're expendable. No more pretending, man, build something memorable. Don't drink from their cup or by stories they tell, because when all their time's up, you'll have dug your own well. You did it. Use lifelines, you're topped off for a lifetime, so drop all those one-liners. We'll get them next time. No, this time is your time, and whatever you decide will end up being real life. No stop signs, just storylines. This whole thing is a misunderstanding, a miscalculation. Jumped and missed the landing. I'm mystified, I can waste so much time. These ovations are strictly imagination, not standing. So much for planning, guess fate left without me. Those failure statistics, yeah, they'll be about me. Was overly optimistic, forgot the logistics. Guess we all learn sometime, don't we? Good is not good enough. No, how long do I stay down before I let go? I buried my pride and took it inside, but never enough. It takes a toll, it gets old getting told you've got miles of road left to go. You're alone with this future unknown. Just go home. Just go home, it's safe there. Yeah, I'll find some embrace there. Look, it's time to admit defeat. A humble retreat, check the box and complete. To my core, intrinsically, it's not for me. I can't do this. I knew this is how it would be. No fame, no fortune, no names on marquees, just running in place every day on repeat. This is the world I want to see, where everything's taken with no guarantees. No. Come on, man, pick your head off. Go back inside half a life's learning to get up. How can I make you see that you have everything you need and what you want to be is never out of reach? Fate deceives sometimes, but destiny's calling, so can't let the phone ring. You know there's no all-knowing. Go level up, no letdowns. Let the world in, push fear out. It's self-belief, it starts right now. When hell freezes, you lay down. Until then, it's your town, it's your story, it's your crown. Live in the clouds, feet on the ground. They stand still, you run around. Go mesmerize, or they socialize. There's dollar signs to be maximized. If you live it right, regret nothing. Loud applause, the sweetest sound. And this moment won't happen again, and never becomes forever unless you choose to begin. So see greatness in each step and power and progress. Your future, yeah, that's limitless. It's infinite. Don't forget you want this.
Getting your business funded is a lengthy process with the banks, and it can take weeks before getting an answer. ProfitFX works with the best in the finance industry to bring you an unrivaled business funding solution for South African businesses. Our funding partners have funded millions in the last year in support of growing your business and our economy. Get in touch with your talk show host to request more information. A trade history of 3 years or more and an annual turnover of 1 million rand or more is required. Terms and conditions apply.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. Excuse me. And we are doing actually the biggest trading partnership actually in the world that is done in Asia. Now, obviously, the market will be green for the whole entire day. That you can take to the bank. Definitely, you will see the favorite of traders nowadays, which is the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq will definitely be in the green. The Dow will definitely be up. Oil prices will go up. Or basically, all commodities will go up. Now, normally in these agreements, your small countries benefit actually the most out of this. If I can now look at the globalization story, that your emerging markets actually move a bit fast in these type of agreements, especially countries like Cambodia, the Philippines, Malaysia. I think those countries, Vietnam, they will normally, your advanced economies will actually give these jobs to your more undeveloped countries, and obviously they can produce it at a cheaper rate and faster, and normally export it to the more advanced economies. So that's why these agreements actually, or I would say politicians actually go for these agreements, because it moves in that range where they can create opportunities for your smaller countries, or I would say your smaller regions. Also, your traveling will help tremendously also, where people can travel up and down, obviously your business people. So it needs to be business friendly as well. Well, there is talks. I'm not saying that everything, when the deal is signed, that everything will work that way. But there is steps also to the deal by relaxing traveling, obviously with COVID and all this nonsense that goes with it. But I think when the COVID nonsense get out of the way, I think that is where your Asians will travel freely amongst each other, especially your business people, and also to sign agreements there. Now, agriculture and tech was actually the main discussion for this agreement. So obviously your agriculture countries like, for example, New Zealand, that I know, and Australia, will definitely export more of their raw material and the agriculture products to the other Asian countries, and also China, that becoming a slowly but surely a massive I would say a tech or service economy, or I would say a tech giant nowadays, because China is also now producing their own stuff like Huawei and the 5G and all of those things. I think that is where China are actually moving in the right direction there with their innovation. And I think that is where China wants to export that technology to the other regions as well, which is now Japan, and also to Australia, and also other parts of Asia. And also, very importantly, there were discussions also about the South Asia seas, that strip there, that becoming a bit hostile between the countries of the Philippines, Vietnam, China that claims that it is their territory, Vietnam, it became a mess. And I think this deal might actually cool off the tensions that are there in the South Asia seas, and also the story between Australia and China. Maybe this deal will actually push it away, but the deal will have steps with traveling and the COVID story and your businesses. But it is a step in the right direction if you are actually in favor of this deal, that the Asian regions are trying now to actually move away from conflict and I would say and rhetoric among each other to a more peaceful transition for economic benefits. Now, obviously, countries like your South Korea, China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, who are Indonesia, is also Thailand. I will not say Thailand as much, but your Philippines, Malaysia, who are literally becoming, I would say, more advanced economies. I think they will also do well in this circumstances, because you must now remember this deal actually it's about $186 billion deal that going on now. The deal between China and Australia is sitting at about $300 billion a year. That is now between the countries. Now this one, it looks like $186 billion. That is now the first step that they want to achieve, and then afterwards it will go on, obviously, when the tariffs get relaxed, and that is where you will see the deal will start to grow faster and faster and faster over the next few years. Now, this deal do exclude the United States, because I'm sure we all remember that Trump actually moved out of the, I think it's the Trans-Pacific deal between the Asian countries and the United States. And Trump obviously came in and said, no, Barack Obama, export all these jobs to the Asian countries and cut that deal. The Trans-Pacific deal he cut out and renegotiated individual the deals with the different Asian regions, and don't want to be part of that pact, I would say, or globalized system. Trump was totally anti-globalization, and he wanted more of a national agreement between respective economies. For example, agreement with China, agreement with the Philippines, like that. So he didn't want that whole deal with all the other countries combined. And look, he was saying that that pushed a lot of jobs out of the United States, and that is where he stopped actually with the deal. Now, that deal was signed with Barack Obama with the Asian Pacific deal, and when Trump came in, he totally cut out with that. Now, this deal do exclude the United States, so we are not sure who will be the one that will be victorious in the U.S. elections, whether it's Joe Biden or will it be Donald Trump. If it's Joe Biden, which the media declares Joe Biden win, and also this morning there was also a tweet from Donald Trump that said he won the elections this morning. So it's an absolute mess that is actually going on there, but we just have to wait now this week who will be the winner. So that will be quite interesting. As they say, there's a possibility that it will be declared this week. Now, we are not sure whoever wins the elections. Say, for example, if it's Joe Biden, will he renegotiate the Trans-Pacific deal between the Asian countries and be part of the regional comprehensive economic partnership? I think then the name must change because then it's regional. So when the US come back, then it obviously needs to go to a more globalized name and not the regional comprehensive economic partnership. But maybe Joe Biden, obviously, he was part of the Barack Obama era, so obviously he wants actually that whole thing back, and also some new deals with China. But for now, the deal actually do exclude the United States. Also, the one that pulled out of this deal was India. India actually pulled last minute out. And they give actually an example that this deal does not benefit them. But there's more to the story, which I will explain later in the show. But for now, the Indians actually said no to the deal. It was supposed to be 15, but now it's only 14 that signed the deal. But I thought that would have put maybe the market down because India is becoming a global force nowadays for the last few years. Before this whole COVID thingy, Asia, or I would say India, was growing at about 6%, 5% to economy and leaned more towards the United States and no longer leaning to Asia. So maybe that was a story. I'm just not sure. But as per the conversation, or as per articles, they said it's all because of the jobs that India saw that it will not benefit them. So that's why they did not actually participate in this agreement. But the agreement went on. New Zealand dollar jumped up, the Australian dollar jumped up, oil prices moved up. So it looks like the market is happy with this deal, with the low tariffs, less red tape, free traveling for among each other. There will also be free agreements among countries. That is now at the later stage. So things look in the green for this whole deal, and it looks like the market are loving it. Please don't forget that you need to actually buy some equity today, especially if you look at your NASDAQ and you look at your commodities and your commodity currencies. It looks like it will all be green today due to this deal. Now, obviously, the US dollar will get a bit of a hemorrhage today because of this deal, not because they are excluded, but it shows that global growth is again back on the table. I will just take a short break and then I'll be back with you with some more information regarding this regional comprehensive economic partnership.
So today is the day when things fall into place, when all my hard work pays off and paves the way. So many times I've fallen down in the past, leaving scars and memories that formed a rash, or one that I scratch when I'm down but not anymore. The rash is healed and I'm ready to walk through the doors. I've always known this day would come, now I'm ready to take it. Not mistaken, this is why I breathe to say I made it. What does that mean? It means I'm finally famous, but not in the context that the world gave us. This is deeper than that, an everlasting love, one from a father that who was smiling above, no longer burdened by the past, brand new. He made me this creation as I stand true to the beliefs that I've held and the people I've met while I walk down this path full of rocks and cement. But I've always known that he's had my back, held me in high regard as I write this rap. So I say to others who feel so lost and alone, I've been there in darkness, I've been on that road. I felt what it means to be truly alone, and I felt depression seep deep into my bones. What kept me grounded was what I've always known. God doesn't abandon his children when they are low. I was down dark in my thoughts, on no hope, no reason to start, until one day I told myself this is enough. I'm tired of living like I'm broken, messed up. I realized what was happening and decided to change. This is important because when that decision came, everything related to pain faded away, and it was replaced with an everlasting grace from a God up above who wants us to succeed, past the enemy's deceit, past the bad memories. Yes, I was in darkness, but now I'm in light. Yeah, I have my dark days, that's a matter of fact, but with God in my corner, I know I will be back to who I'm meant to be, how he created me, how he showed me who I was when I couldn't even see. So I write to those who are down on their luck. It's okay to feel this way, to feel like you're stuck, but just know that there's hope, a way out of this pain. And it starts with you saying that I'm not okay. Then you'll realize how you felt all this time, and you won't want to change, but you'll still pave the way. You'll fight hard every day, making things go your way, and with God on your side, there is no losing faith. So with this truth I say, follow your heart to your beautiful fate. Yeah, your beautiful fate. Follow your dreams to your newfound beliefs. Never give up on your destiny. Instead, pave a way past all the deceit and make a new path full of love and harmony. This is your life, and I challenge you to make it. Try your best past all the fear and the hatred. You'll gain more scars, some bruises too. But as long as you keep fighting, those scars don't define you. You were made for this, so take it head on.
Take it headstrong, dead on, never let off of the gas that is your fuel to the fire you set off. Let it burn the path to victory and follow it right on. Because no matter what comes your way, you know this is your destiny. You know this is what you're meant to be, something you were meant to see. So keep running towards the sunlight, past the dark nights and staring eyes, past the painful past and the blaring lights. Take this life head on and see all the sights.
Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Ted Turner. Success leaves clues, kids. I just named 5 of the greatest names in business in the last 150 years. And they all have one thing in common. They're ball busters. They're hard as nails. Where does that leave you? I still work 50, 60 hours a week. And I haven't had to work in 35 years. You're not willing to do anything. You're not willing to sacrifice anything to be a high-performance person.
I don't want to be like that.
No, most people don't.
I want to be liked.
Yeah, well, see, you want to fit in. I'm the only speaker that you're ever going to hear that really, with all his heart, doesn't give a shit. If I leave here you liking me, I did something wrong.
Be the kind of trader who sees the big picture. The world is changing around you. Global threats push gold, the safe haven asset, to higher prices each and every day. Now's your chance to start trading gold. Just go to capex.com and register to get up to a $5,000 bonus on your first deposit. Simply use GOLD5000 as a promo code and you're good to go. Capex.com proudly welcomes you to the next level trading experience. Register now and start taking full advantage of the new gold rush. Terms and conditions apply. Exposure to gold obtained via contracts for difference, which are leveraged products and incur a high level of risk. Capex.com is operated by JME Financial Services, Pty Ltd, an authorized financial services provider.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're doing the regional comprehensive economic partnership among the Asian countries with some sort of a low tariffs and free agreements. That will be dished out for countries to have their economic products, their products actually and services transported to each other, and also to make businesses much easier for the region. Now, I thought in 2017, when Trump came into power, that it is the end of globalization. Now, obviously, I was explaining in the first part of the show the good side of the whole regional comprehensive economic deal, because the tariffs will be lower. I mean, these countries are the third largest economies in the world, so 30% of the output come actually from this country. So it's a massive agreement, I must say. It's actually the world's largest agreement. But will it work? That is the big question. With globalization, I would say, or regional territory or regional countries that make agreement amongst each other, will it work? The big question is also in Europe. If you look at history, for example, when it comes to Europe, the European Union, where Germany, France, the Netherlands, and all of them combined forces. Now, obviously, we know the story there, is that with Greece included, that it turned sour at some stage, with Greece actually declaring bankruptcy, and now other countries needed to chip in and to assist Greece. They couldn't actually let go of Greece because a lot of countries like Germany, France, and a lot of banks were borrowing money to Greece. So just to cut out Greece will have other complications, because the banks could actually collapse, would have collapsed if they just chopped off Greece. It's not that Greece is out of the woods yet. There's still some serious problems with Greece, and also when it comes to other countries, for example, like Spain and Portugal, that also put immense pressure on the advanced European countries. Now, economists economists and politicians actually refer this agreement or the regional comprehension economic partnerships as a good deal. Now, the market is also moving in that perspective. But what is the problems with this? There is a lot of history. We have 200-300 years of history that shows that these agreements normally do backfire. Now, these agreements can only work if we stay in a perfect world. For example, without diseases, without rhetoric, for example, like global warming, because some countries may agree with global warming, but others will not agree with global warming. And the problem, what normally happens is, for example, in Europe and with the United States, or I would say with other countries in the world, including South Africa, I personally don't agree with global warming because other countries do not benefit out of this, especially your emerging economies or developed countries or developing countries. They normally don't actually benefit from global warming because there's too many regulation that goes with global warming, that they can't produce coal, mining decreasing, they can't use oil and all of those things, where developing countries need those products to get to the advanced level. Now, economists do say that emerging economies do benefit out of these globalization deals, which I found it very striking. It's not the case. Excuse me. Countries don't benefit out of this. For example, like the Trans-Pacific deal with the United States and with the Asian regions. The thing is that all these jobs that was in the United States was shipped over to the Asian countries. So the advanced economies normally don't benefit out of this, as the deal get more ripped off for advanced economies, because the products get made cheaper in Asian countries and then get exported to the United States, although the US consumer don't have to pay much for these products. The problem is the jobs is basically gone in the United States. So there is a lot of, I would say, grievances when it gets to these globalization or regional deals. For example, also the story with Australia. Australia was just standing up against China by stating that there need to be investigation in China about the coronavirus. And what happens after that is that the Chinese actually slapped the Australian businesses with some serious tariffs due to that comment by the Prime Minister of Australia. So there's normally rift, political rift, viruses, wars, and those type of things that normally happens with these agreements, and is normally a sweet start, but later on it can get messy. Also, the problem is a problem with traveling. For example, there's a lot of people from China that moves to Australia to stay there. Well, it sounds good for the Australians because a lot of foreign money that comes in from China to Australia. On the other side, it pushes up property prices in Australia because there's a lot of money that comes from China. They're buying a large amount of properties and houses, and then the prices of these houses increases, and then the people inside of Australia can't afford housing. And that happens not just in Australia, but also in New Zealand. That's why New Zealand is sitting with a problem of housing. And now the Prime Minister of New Zealand is trying to combat the story. How? I'm not sure how the hell she's going to get that right, because the property prices increase, because the Chinese are buying properties left, right, and center, and that put the pressure on the property market where the prices is actually skyrocketing. Now, you can chase out the Chinese, but then they're going to slap you with some heavy tariffs or don't even buy your products anymore, and then you're sitting with a catastrophe. Now, the deal sounds good, that everybody can trade with each other, but in reality, it is too complex. Because also, you have now India that moved out of the deal because they said the agriculture sector will not benefit out of this deal, and it will kill quite a lot of jobs in India. And also they were talking about the manufacturing side. because all of a sudden, India will have to compete with the Vietnam and the Philippines and Malaysia, and they are actually quite more advanced by producing these products. And where India is more labor intensive when it comes to producing of cars, footwear, and also agriculture. Now, that is where the problems come in, and then you have politicians that clash with each other, and which can escalate to rhetoric and more tensions in the region. And then also China that builds fake islands among the South Asia seas, that is also a concern. Because you can't just build islands and where boats, especially your cargo boats, needs to actually transport goods and services, and now you want to dictate who must drive here through and who must not. Now that can also cause major problems for the region. Now the other problem is also with Japan and China, and then you have South Korea. Now, how will South Korea, China, and Japan, which are more advanced, how will they benefit out of this region? Because normally this deal hit the advanced economies quite hard. I normally say it's a lose-lose situation in this globalization deals, because you have the jobs that actually move away from these the emerging markets actually gain more jobs, and jobs move away from your more advanced economies. And then afterwards, there is a nationalism story that comes up, which happened with Donald Trump, where he said, make America great again, and we will put America first. Because what happened is not just the Asian region that ripped off the United States, and which is true, but also Mexico and Canada. And the Mexican, I just can't remember the deal, but there was a deal between Mexico, the United States, and Canada, and which Trump basically stopped because it was signed by Bill Clinton. And he said it literally export all manufacturing goods, or I would say jobs, to these countries. Well, when Trump was now putting on these, I would say, barriers, it created jobs for the United States. Now, personally, I was totally a bit skeptical about it, because obviously the United States is a more advanced economy, and I was thinking, well, salaries need to increase, so it will be, I will not say difficult, but it will be more expensive to build these products in the United States. But to my disappointment, it actually worked. There was actually jobs that were produced in the United States, and a lot of people actually benefited out of this. Also, he built a wall because due to this agreement, the Mexicans can just walk all over where they want to. So he actually put up a wall because obviously that there was, I would say, because of the traveling arrangement, people could just move in and out quite easily. I will not say it's they must have obviously their legal documents, but it was very hard for them to actually just to send these people back, because there is no barrier to keep them in Mexico. So it became a huge problem afterwards with this whole globalization story, because it can get complex. There's other countries that will take advantage of this situation, and there was other countries that will actually cry, that will say, no, but this agreement does not suit me, and they need to go out. Now, obviously, there will be borrowing of money to one another. For example, China will maybe borrow money to Vietnam, and all of these things. And then, like for example, within Greece situation, they borrowed so much money at the end where this partnership could not actually get stopped because they are too far in the mess. So the deal can get complicated, and I think it will, obviously, because there's history that can prove it. There's facts, there's evidence that says that these globalization deals does not work. The same applies here in Africa, and I would say with the SADC region, with South Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Malawi, that are Mozambique, that are in this agreement. And look what happens is that they literally take advantage of South Africa, that people can just cross our border whenever they wish. Like, for example, the weekend, some famous pastor in Malawi that were actually residing in South Africa were just leaving. He was actually, he still needed to to be prosecuted for fraud. He's actually accused of fraud, and he just left. I mean, he got his bail application. He passed that, but then there was conditions with this that he couldn't leave. Obviously, because you're on bail and you need to stand trial, so you can't leave. And he just packed up and moved. And obviously, there was corruption that went into this whole story. But it just shows you how easy it is for people to pass border regulations in these, I would say, regional agreements, or I would say globalization agreements. Obviously, Africa, or when Muammar Gaddafi was still alive, he wanted to build a one Africa where Africa used one currency, trade with among each other. It all sounds well and nice. But in the long run, it just can't work. Because if you look at Africa, we all have basically the same products that we sell to one another, which is the commodities. It's only South Africa who is more advanced than the others. So which means South Africa will get ripped off again with the whole African Union story. I don't know why South Africa is part of this African Union and also with the SADC region. It just doesn't make sense at all, because all these countries are totally corrupt, including South Africa. So, and it just doesn't function. The whole, from Rwanda to Nigeria to wherever, it's just corruption, and it's literally banana countries, I would say. So the thing is, of globalization policies, it doesn't work. But for now, the market is in the green. I think that is more important for us, that the market is in the green and you can buy this whole thing. But please keep in mind that there will be problems with this deal. And I would say maybe in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, this deal will definitely get scrapped, like all the other deals, whether it is the Trans-Pacific deal, whether it is the European Union. Because look, if you look at the European Union, that's why Britain is out of the European Union, because there was no border control. Nothing. People could move from Europe, and normally it's your bad apples that comes from Europe that moves into Britain, and vice versa. And that causes problems, because the crime you want to prevent from your country, but now it all moves into your country, and there's nothing you can do, because these people can use one passport and move across the whole entire Europe. So, and then there's other complications that comes in with trade agreements and business people and all of these things. So it all sounds nice that, yeah, you business people can move to other countries and make agreements and come back. That is the beautiful side. The bad side, we are not in a perfect world. There's a lot of different things that comes in. That is banking regulations, that is red tape with globalization, traveling, also when it comes to military drilling and training, and also when maybe China is having a problem with Russia, then it means all the other countries needs to help China to invade Russia. It can become complex. We are not staying in a perfect world, and these guys are signing deals based on a perfect world. That is the whole problem with politicians. They don't want to actually see the history or the facts behind this deal, because it hurts their economy and it hurts their people. So I can tell you now, in 5 years' time, this deal will be something of the past. I personally think this is the end of globalization, and people, politicians, must rather do agreement with a country on its own. Rather make agreement with China, next agreement you make it with Japan, with Australia, one by one, but not in a pack situation, because there's a difference in culture, there's a difference in work ethic, there's a difference in environments. Everything is different. So you can't just have a combined set of people. You can't have people combining and then you make agreement with that people, like in the Trans-Pacific deal when it comes to Barack Obama. It doesn't work, and normally countries do suffer with these agreements. So, but for today, the market's in the green, and I think it still will to continue. But on the other side, I just wanted to actually throw my 2 cents in when it comes to the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. For now, please do buy NASDAQ, Dow Jones, oil, gold. I will basically say everything Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, but obviously you need to sell the US dollar because the US dollar normally goes down due to these agreements. That's it from my side today. I hope you guys enjoy it, and then I will see you guys tomorrow at the same time at 1 o'clock. Bye-bye.
The champ is here!